Hi, it's Keith Townsend from the CTOadvisor.com with today's CTO Daily Dose. We're going to talk the building blocks of cloud computing. And I think this is where this can get sometimes confusing because we have various customers or various vendors that play in each one of these building blocks that claim that they are cloud. And cloud, it's very difficult to deliver for the complete vision of cloud computing from just one of these blocks. So what are these blocks? We have the base infrastructure. So this is the storage, compute, networking, etc. Abbreviate infrastructure, shouldn't have to write it all the way out. Then we have the cloud plane or the control plane. And then we have the processes. And for processes, we're going to assume people, process, technology. So the people, process, and technology, infrastructure, and cloud control plane are the technology. And for people and processes, we're going to map that in my definition into the process portion of our conversation. So actually, each one of these technical planes can be outsourced. You don't outsourced or abstracted. You don't need physical infrastructure, or at least you don't have to manage the physical infrastructure yourself of a cloud provider. So inside of this, we'll have HCI, converged systems from an infrastructure perspective, and then even traditional three-tier architectures if we wanted to build our own private cloud. But we also have the option of outsourcing this or abstracting that away, and this can be abstracted away to AWS, Azure, Google Compute, or we can have some type of middle layer such as a Rackspace who takes care of this for us. Or we can have a combination of any one of these things to create the infrastructure, the physical server, network, compute, storage layers of what we need to, from a technology perspective, provide resources to our cloud consumers. This could even include SaaS layers. So SaaS and PaaS actually bleed a little bit in between these two. So the control plane. The control plane is, in the case of public cloud, our Azure or AWS control panel. So if you think, how do I interface with the cloud, and how does that interface work with the infrastructure? That's the control plane. You take your control plane and you overlay that on top of your infrastructure. Now you have the technical bits that you need for a cloud. So Microsoft Azure is one of those things, and then Azure kind of bleeds over by offering Azure Stack, which is a physical initiation of the control plane on your own on-prem data center. So Microsoft bleeds a little bit into both worlds. They'll take the Azure control plane and allow you to have that control plane exist inside of your data center using the Azure Stack to provide both the control plane and the physical infrastructure. What if you don't want a public cloud provider as your control plane? You want to manage the control plane yourself. This is where we start to talk about private cloud or cloud brokers, and it gets a little fuzzy. So we have players in here like Embodics, Microsoft Systems Managers, kind of a control plane for cloud, but not fully baked. We have VMware vCloud or VMware vCloud Director. I'm not sure what it's called anymore. We have VMware vRealize that plays in this area. For private cloud, we haven't really figured this out. We've outsourced, there's solutions that we've outsourced this to. So Platform 9 fits into here, where you can take the control plane software and outsource that to the cloud. There's other providers such as IBM, they'll do that as well. Well, they'll take the control plane, manage it in their data center, and then provide the control plane as a SaaS offering that sits on top of your infrastructure. So we have the control plane, which sits on top of the infrastructure. We've established that we can outsource the infrastructure to a cloud provider or a physical hosting provider such as Rackspace, Equinix, etc. Then we take the control plane, overlay that on top of the infrastructure. Our options for control plane are Azure, Platform 9, VMware, Google Compute, Amazon AWS. That's the technology. Now the hard part. All of this was really easy. We know how to build infrastructure. The control plane is more or less software. We've deployed and managed or built software in the past. We know how to do those things. The problem area is the process and the people around managing all of this, the control plane all the way down to the infrastructure. And I think a lot of people get held up in the technical bits of cloud. So I need folks that know how to deploy HCI, converged infrastructure, 3-tier architecture, AWS, geared towards a cloud architecture delivery model. Then I need people to understand how to deploy and manage a control plane. You know what? Again, while I've talked about some of the technical difficulties of that stuff is easy. Finding the people to do that, a little bit tougher, but changing your organization into a model in which you can take advantage of this across the landscape. This is where we start to impact areas outside of just IT. We're impacting areas such as finance, audit, security, content and content management, data management, areas that have seemingly nothing to do with IT, facilities. All of these people and processes have to be adjusted to this new model of delivering cloud. Remember, cloud isn't a technology. This stuff, really easy. This stuff, not so much. And it's not just about the technology. That's why a cloud and digital transformation is labeled a business transformation. It's not about the technology. It's enabling the business to do something much faster than they could before. And if you're transforming the business at that point, you need to start at the business and then work your way back to eventually the infrastructure. That's today's rant or CTO chat. You can learn more about the CTO Advisor by going to thectoadvisor.com on the web. You can follow me on Twitter. You can engage in this conversation. If you don't agree with this building block of cloud that I built, and you think you can go to an HCI vendor or AWS and have all of this rolled in from one vendor, have that conversation with me on LinkedIn. This video will be posted on there. Search me on LinkedIn, Keith L. Townsend, or KL Townsend on LinkedIn, and we can have a great conversation around cloud. That's it. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Daily Dose.